Man United 1, Newcastle United 0. United have clung on to a 1-0 victory. Great result. 3 points. That puts us 6 points ahead of Newcastle. If Newcastle would have won 1-0, they would have taken the scoreline and they would have been on equal points to us. So let's make no mistakes about this. Ultra important result. And I guess it's all about the result. So should we just close the stream and end here? Far from it. Let's unpack the game. For me, it was a game of two. It was a game of two halves, but not two halves, first half and second half, but a tale of two stories. One, first hour, and secondly, the half an hour. The first hour for me was two evenly matched teams going head to head, decent attacks, high powered, a lot of energy, both sides, having that potential and potency to hit each other. With United being at home, I do expect they had probably the slightly better of the two teams. They were the better team. And I was very happy to see United in that mode. Four at the back, tenacious midfield, combative midfield. That engine was flowing. After halftime, Mount sustained an injury, and we replaced Mount with Jack Fletcher. Not good at all, because we're replacing essentially one of our most influential players, someone who brings a lot to this team, defense from the top, and replaced him with a rookie. And he is a rookie. He does look like a rookie. I'm very surprised actually Lacing didn't come on. But anyway, Jack Fletcher came on and actually he's played an entire half, and I don't think I've really seen him into the game. There was only once or twice that I saw him, and even then there wasn't much end product. But anyway, we can't criticize young players, not because they're infallible, just because they're doing their best. This is how they will develop. This is how they will end up hopefully taking the chances and making a name for themselves. So let's say it for what it is. I hope and I expect this 45 minutes for Jack Fletcher to be something that he can build on, that he will take into his career. No. Hi, Random 12. You look like Felix. I don't know. It's Felix from Stray Kids. It's a compliment. Thank you very much. Clutch. Hi. Katie Phillips. Hi, I'm new. Welcome. Raymond Edits. Hi. Hello to everyone. Merry Christmas. Welcome to the stream. Hope you guys are here for Man United as well. We've just clung on to a win, and we're just trying to unpack the game. So that was the first story. Even with Jack Fletcher coming on, obviously the intensity dropped. Did kind of feel like we got the short end of the deal, but we were still there. We were still very much maintaining our system, our formation, and our structure. Okay. And then on the 60th minute, Amarin thinks, well, guess what, guys? I've not impacted the game. I have not got enough pressure, enough media, enough everything. Let me put my stamp on the game. So what does he do? This was a very evenly matched game, a game that we edged because we had the quality in Patrick Dorgu. He volleyed us 1-0 ahead, and we were toe to toe. You know, I'm not saying, you know, we were massively in front or whatever, but we were giving Newcastle more than a game. We even looked at home. It was what I hoped, to be very honest with you. But 60th minute, on comes, I don't even want to say Lenny Yoro because it's not against Lenny Yoro, but on comes a defender and off goes Casemiro. Why? I don't know, but it's less so about Lenny Yoro, the player who comes on, more so the fact that he's bringing on a defender for a midfielder and, more importantly, changing that formation. We played so well with 4 at the back. We now turn to 5 at the back, 3 central midfield, 3 centre backs, and it was a completely different game, guys. Completely different game. That was on the 60th minute. Again, I don't know what the issue is with Casemiro. Maybe he had a big injury. Maybe he had, I don't know if it was precautionary. I don't know. But Amorim put his stamp on, and that's it. The game turned on its head. It went from being, I would say, maybe us edging out the game, let's say 55 to 45. It turned to 80-20. Newcastle 80%, United 20%. And all we did for that last 30 minutes is defend. Try and defend a lead. They hit the post. They hit the crossbar once. I think they probably hit the post again. We were just clinging on, guys. And until the very end, I just thought maybe it's just United's day. Sometimes you get days like this where no matter what a team does, it's just not going to go in. And I think it was one of those days for Newcastle. Their finishing was poor. They kept going over the bar. We've had days like that for Man United. I just can't believe that yet again we are at Old Trafford and we're back adding more players on that defensive line. I mean, after 60 minutes, it literally felt like we had a man sent off. Because we had Jack Fletcher, a rookie midfielder, who has not been impacting the game from the 45th minute, left on his own instead of having both Casemiro and Ugarte this time. He only had Ugarte by his side. And Ugarte had a good game. But just shocking for me, a shocking decision by Amorim. Yet again shows his stubbornness. Listen, we're cheering on the victory. I'm cheering on a victory. Because any win for Man United is a win. Any point, 3 points for Man United is 3 points. We need it. More than the performance, we need the result. But my goodness, what goes on in his mind? Just what goes on in his mind? I don't get it. So there you go. I don't know what the papers will say tomorrow. I don't know what the headlines will say tomorrow. I'm not sure what his interview would be like. But I'm sure he'll be getting credit from mainstream media. Amorim wins, beats Newcastle United 1-0. But for me, very, very lucky half an hour. And completely unnecessary. I don't think this was a prime Newcastle. I don't think this was a world-beating side. We did not need to go so defensive so early. And going defensive is one thing. The reason I say lucky is not because we defended superbly. We got chances carved out. It's just Newcastle didn't take those chances. So anyway, a really good or good 1 hour from Man United. Um, Slightly lucky to go ahead, but again, that's quality, so I wouldn't say lucky. But well done to Man United. Good performance, great goal, deservedly 1-0 up, and that last half an hour, we were just running down the clock. So let's let's unpack the individual performances, starting with the goalkeeper, Lamens. Lamens did well, came out a couple of times towards the end, caught the ball, but not his sturdiest performance. I think we were very lucky. I'm not sure if Newcastle would have scored, whether they would have given this foul, but a cross came in, and Gordon was there just trying to be a nuisance, and Lamens missed the ball. But in the end, they gave a foul to Lamens into Man United. But he's got to be stronger there for me. And just his kicking is a little bit flat. Can and should work on it. But other than that, good performance, grew into the game and was, you know, responded present when called upon. A couple of times he came out, collected the ball. That's what you want your goalkeeper to do. That dominant kind of penalty box performance. I think it was there. He gets a well-earned clean sheet. The back four, I'll start with Luke Shaw. Again, most of the players, we're gonna have to judge them from the first half. First hour is one game, and the last half an hour plus stoppage time is another game. The last 37 minutes was another game. So Luke Shaw as a left back, I thought he was again good in the first hour. But a couple of times I think he could and should have put crosses in, didn't. So sorry. Lamens' score for me is a 7 out of 10. Luke Shaw would have been a 7, but then in the second half for me he dropped back. It just was not supporting, was not getting the team out. One of the things with Luke Shaw, especially in the back three, is about getting the team out of jail, moving that ball forward. And I don't think he did that, and it was a 6. So overall, I'm going to give him a 6.5. Martinez, what a performance, what a player, what composure. Welcomed him into the side, and I hope that when he came off with 5 minutes to go, it was just precautionary. Hopefully nothing to worry about. But what a player. One of the men of the match, one of the better players, I guess, potential men of the match contenders. But I'm going to put it out there. There's a player who was head and shoulders above anyone else in a red shirt or anyone else on the pitch. So men of the match will go to him. But Martinez, super solid performance. Both in a 2 and in a 3. I'll give Martinez an 8 out of 10. Even 8.5. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10. It's just come back from injury. Quality. Aiden Heaven, same. Great performance. I don't recall him putting United in trouble. And I really hope, guys, I know De Ligt comes back. I guess Maguire will come back. Especially in the back three. But I just hope that we don't sideline Aiden Heaven when De Ligt comes back. Because what a player he's proven to be. He's not just we don't just have to be loyal to him because he's played well in the games that he's been called upon. But what a prospect, what a player we have in our hands. We knew that from before. He was super highly rated at Arsenal. United went and got him, I think it was £1 million. And that was such a well touted transfer. That was a real coup that we beat Arsenal to. And we've got real prospect at the back in Aiden Heaven, and I hope we continue to see him from game to game, coming back on, hopefully. And no, 8.5. 8.5 out of 10 for Aiden Heaven. Didn't really put a foot wrong. Was superb. Both Martinez and Aiden Heaven deserve this clean sheet. Diego Dallo. Now, Diego Dallo in the back four for me did all right. Diego Dallo in the back four played relatively well. Again, if memory serves me well, I don't recall him making mistakes. And I'd probably have given him a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. Again, could have put the ball in. I don't like these. I would have given him a 6.5 in the first hour. I don't really think his long throws are any good or any accurate. Every time he's doing these throws, it seems to go to a Newcastle player. Now, ironically, it is Diego Dallo's throw, or prior to the goal, Man United goal, was actually engineered, or started, not engineered, sorry, but started with a Diego Dallo throw in. But he throws in it to a Newcastle player. The Newcastle player miskicks or fails to clear, and it landed to Dorgu, who wallops it into the side netting. But I don't think any of his throws have actually landed on a Man United player, and United have been able to do much good from it. So I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. But Diego Dallo in that, when we turned to a back three, was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. He was back to being the worst player on the pitch. He kept coming inside and Lenny Yoro getting dragged out wide onto the touchline. I don't know why. This can't be tactically something which is good. Lenny Yoro is a great young player, and a couple of times he got turned super quick, in and out. But I think that was because of Dalot. It made Lenny Yoro look slow, but he was playing against Gordon, who's one of the best, if not, and one of the fastest, if not the fastest. But also, Dalot looked like he was carrying an injury, and if that's the case, just get out. He was horrible. We've got a chat from William Steele. Hello, yes, agree. Yeah, I hope that's on Dalot. But anyway, Dalot in that last half an hour was atrocious. One of our worst players, and for that reason, I think his overall score goes down to as low as a 5 for me. Him and Amorim, I don't know who to blame, because Dalot doesn't pick himself. Dalot can't insist that he plays, and Dalot can't choose the formation. A lot of the blame that are apportioned to Dalot is Amorim's responsibility. And now, Dalot has shockingly been included in this 6 experienced players, leaders, whatever. And when Martinez came off, he gave Dalot the armband. I mean, crime out loud. Like, this is not a player who should even be in our first 11. How are we giving him the armband? So just a big disappointment there for me with Delo. Lucky to get a 5 overall. We go on to the midfield. Start with Casemiro. I like Casemiro. I think he's done well as a 6. Was very combative. I like the just the whole energy with Casemiro and Ugarte. Sorry, I wasn't getting his name there. Casemiro and Ugarte looked decent. Maybe my expectations were so low going into the match, but they actually looked good. And I'll send Casemiro out with a 7 out of 10. In fact, things changed when he came off, so I really hope this was just precautionary. It just doesn't make sense. He better have an injury, not because I'm hoping, because I don't understand what happened, what goes on up in there with Amorim to take Casemiro off. Our next match is against Wolves. Are we resting Casemiro to play against Wolves? Because guess what? He didn't play the last match. He was suspended against Aston Villa. So what's going on? He's not played the last match, and you're now taking him off after an hour. Super weird again by Amorim. Super weird. But yeah, 7 for Casemiro. Ugarte. I'm even going to say Ugarte is a 7.5. Again, we've got two versions of it. The first half was an 8. Second half, probably a 6.5, 6.5. Let's round it off to a 7.5 overall for the game. But give Ugarte his flowers. I've not been a fan, called him out. The first match he came back was super slow. But this game, Ugarte performed, and is a big reason we got a clean sheet. Ugarte transitioned very well. He was more of an 8 this match. Just a bit surprising. I probably would have thought, well, with Casemiro and his, losing his legs, a bit, yeah, Ugarte has to be that player, has to be that 8. But I thought he'd done it well. Bruno Fernandes was looking on from the stands. Maybe he's got a thing or two to learn from it. But what was really good with Ugarte was he was the perfect foil for Mount. Mount was defending from the top, and Ugarte was following up. I mean, between them, my goodness, imagine you had Mount, Ugarte, Casemiro, Martinez. I mean, that's where we dominated the match. We were just closing non-stop. Fantastic. Yeah, so Ugarte 7.5 for me for this match. One of the better players, one of the men of the match contenders. After our centre back pairing there. And then on that, and then we go on to the 3 in front. So 4-2-3-1 was the formation. We'll start with Cunha. I thought Cunha was really industrious, effort, passion. There was another moment where I could see he was jeering on the fans. He was trying to get the fans, to be noisier, to be a little bit more supportive. He was running till the very end, and just for effort, I think Cunha is fast becoming a fan's favourite, just for effort. He's not scared to shoot. We knew that anyway. I think he's got the second highest number of shots after Erling Haaland. But look at the productivity, right? Where Haaland is the league's top scorer by a long margin, Cunha is nowhere near. It's just his quality, his decision-making and quality of shots is just not there. Couple of times he was dragging the ball. He runs with the ball. That's his key. That's his USP. He runs with the ball, protects, shields it from the opposition. Great asset there. But he's just got to work on that decision-making and on the end product, because so far it's not there. One disappointing moment for me was after a great run from the middle of the pitch. We won the ball. I believe this was around the 80th minute. So again, super, super work from Cunha so late into the game, but running at pace at the Newcastle defense. And then he shimmies it, kind of like takes the ball from the right onto the left, and then has a shot with the left foot, which was nowhere near the post. Like, again, I think it's just being a little bit too predictable for the opposition with Cunha, because mark him away from that right foot, which is, yeah, it's very strong. Has got a lot of potential. But he moves to the left and he's still not going to pass it. It then takes a pot shot, just devoid of quality. But again, you can't have everything in a player, and Cunha for me gets positive points, bonus points just for effort alone. So I'd give Cunha a 7 out of 10. In the middle, for what it's worth, he only played one half. But Mason Mount, when he plays, he makes an impact, and he's one of our best forwards off the ball. Off the ball is our best forward, period. No one, for me, comes close. And we really noticed his absence once he came off the pitch. So Mason Mount, for the time that he was on the pitch, for me, 7.5. Again, effort, running off the ball, tackling. The delivery was decent on the set pieces, Mason Mount. So a good half. Didn't get on the score sheet, didn't have an assist, but for me, impacted the game. It's a shame that we are still talking about his fitness and his injuries. That's a huge issue. But 7.5 for me, Mason Mount. Now on to the next player. Quite simply, the best player on the pitch, bar none, Patrick Dorgu. What a player, what a game. From start to finish, easy 9 out of 10 for me. Easy 9. Of course, it waned in the second, towards the end in that last 30 minutes. But he was still there. He still responded present. He was still our biggest outlet from that defense. And I just wish the team would play him a bit more and would exploit his potential a bit more. Took one for the team, flush on the face, sent him crashing to the ground, tackled. He just responded present in every aspect of the game. And last but not least, what a strike. That bit of quality when it was needed. He won us the game. Probably our individualistic performance, our best individualistic performance of the season. Patrick Dorgu, I salute you, bud. Thank you so much for this. And it was head and shoulders better than any other player on the pitch. I guess a real conundrum. I think he should continue to be played in that position, at least for the rest of this month, until we get Amad Diallo back and Mbeumo back. I think he deserves that. But more importantly, and we'll get on to Amorim, what has been great is just the formation. Playing four out the back, 2 in midfield, then the other 3. It's essentially a 5-man midfield, right? I just think it's been a breath of fresh air, United starting the game like this, and let's see what we do against Wolves in that return leg. A lot of people already saying, that's a guaranteed 3 points. I don't see it like this. I think we need to put in a good performance. But anyway, sticking back to to Patrick Dorgu. Man of the match, 9 out of 10. Super ratings. And I think his colleagues, his peers gave him the flowers, gave him his flowers on the game. Casemiro acknowledged him a couple of times. I mean, super, super strong, tenacious tackles there. What a player, what a future he has, and hopefully what a present time already impactful player he is and can be for Man United. Well done. And then Šeško, Benjamin Šeško. He didn't have many notable chances to my recollection. The most Šeško-esque chance was actually one that landed with Diego Dalot, which he blazed off on top of the bar. I'm hoping that if this was Šeško in that position, we would have found the back of the net. But I liked his little shimmy and then hit the ball first time with the left foot that crashed against the crossbar. They did do a bit of running, but again, he needs that support. And I think today, with having essentially 2 wingers or 3 number 10s, you know, he had some legs around him. He had more legs around him, and I think it was a little bit more impactful. So I'd give Šeško a 6.5 out of 10. Now on to the substitutes. The first one for Mount was Jack Fletcher. A shame. He's not done anything much for me to talk about, really. But credit to him, and it's more about what we can do for him at this point in time. And I think having 45 minutes under his belt in a Premier League match, in a tough Premier League match against a top team in Newcastle, I think can only be good for his experience. Mum and Dad were there in the stands watching him. Darren Fletcher, obviously a legend for Man United. It'll do him good. But don't think he's shown. I don't think this was his match. And actually, Amorim's got to take a little bit of the blame for it. I mean, you put on a rookie, you put on a young player, and then you don't give him the support. He then takes off Casemiro. I mean, what rubbishness is that? Anyway. But anyway, for this match alone, I'm going to give Jack Fletcher, I'd like to give him a generous 6, but I will dock him half a point. Just for not continuing that impact. And again, it's less so on him than it is on the quality of Mason Mount. I think Mount was so good that when Jack came on, it was just very tough to live up to that extent. I'll give him a 5.5. Some would say I'm being super harsh. He's a young player, etc. But I'm not saying he's had a really bad game. It's just he came on for a player who is really good, and the difference was there for everyone to see. And then he's got his manager to thank for the lack of support. So really tough on the kid, but he'll learn from it. Second substitution. So that was half time. Second substitution, which is what changed the game, was Lenny Yoro on for Casemiro. Now, Lenny Yoro, for me, he contributed in the match. He got turned a couple of times. He was a little bit slow, but again, for me, that's on Diego Dalot. An average score is what I'm going to have to give him. Don't think he won many props, many flowers, many big points there, but he didn't put a foot wrong, and he actually contributed towards a lot of the clearances. So Lenny Yoro gets a 6. Xerxes came on. Now, for me, he was the biggest disappointment out of all of the substitutions. Xerxes just didn't contribute. This was definitely not the match for him, but he didn't lay a glove. If I ended up giving Šeško only a 6.5, I've got to be honest, Xerxes was way off. Shesko. So, Xerxes, you get a 4. Just not the match. Slow, lethargic, just didn't get into the game. He's certainly not a number 9. And just, he's played much better games for Man United than this. This match, poor. 4 out of 10. The other 2 players who came on, I think one was Fredrickson, the other one was Malacia. Towards the end, they both get 6 out of 10 average scores. They contribute towards the clean sheet. And it's important, right, guys? It's important because if they made a mistake towards the end there, we give away minimum 2 points, potentially even 3 points. So well done to them. But I think they came on very late on, maybe 5 minutes to go, plus substitute injury time. Probably about 10-12 minutes is what they've played. And yeah, they get an average score. Now, on to the fans. I think the fans did well. A couple of times they could have been supporting us more. And I think especially the fans were great up to the hour mark. And that substitution completely killed everything. Wasn't a big drop or anything, but I think, like Cunha exemplified, a big section of the fans was just so disappointed with how defensive we had turned. It looked like we had got a man sent off. This is what Amorim made us look like. So I'll give the fans a 7.5 out of 10. The referee, again, could have been better on a couple of occasions, but nothing too drastic. So I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. The referee, I think, where he was a bit bad was just very stop-start. It didn't allow the game to flow. There wasn't one particular bad decision, but it didn't allow the game to flow, and it just could have been better. And now on to Amorim. I've saved him till last, but my goodness, he could have been in for a great score, guys. Let me tell you, Amorim could have been in for a great score. 4 at the back, renewed, refreshed, rejuvenated, United. It was a beautiful start. And we all understand the predicaments that he's in, the limitations that he's in, the players coming back from injury, the players that he doesn't have to his disposal, the players who are in Africa, all of that. He could have been in for a great score from me and hopefully for yourself. But 60th minute, and again, unless there is something that we just don't know about, that will withhold judgment on what happened to Casemiro, I don't know. But going back to a back 3 like this is just, it's just painful. And I guess that's a trigger for us now as Man United fans. We're burnt from it. I just don't know why he's so ready, so willing, so easy to go back to that back 5 plus 2 DMs, plus a goalkeeper. We barely got out of our halves, guys. We were playing counter-attacking football without the counter, without an outlet. Too many bad decisions. How he manages Delo, the importance that he puts on this long ball throw in. It's very, very bad. And he congests that defense where we've got 2-3 players to clear the same ball. And clear it to who? So, for me, listen, just for that first hour, for me, I would have given Amorim an 8, maybe even pushing an 8.5. If Adogu not had the game that he had, maybe I would even have given Amorim the man of the match. He was the second highest rated individual from a United perspective. But from 60 minutes onwards, for me, he gets a Diego Dallo score. Just in the second half alone, for me, he gets like a 3.5. So in the end, he ends with an average score of 6 out of 10 after a win. Well done to you, Amarim. But I guess for me, that's too lucky a score, too lucky a result at home to a struggling Newcastle. So onwards and upwards, I hope you can take the positives out of today, and I hope you can look at the negatives as well. So with that, I'm going to end today. Thank you very much to everyone who's contributed with the chats, coming on with the views, and just talking about the game with me. Hope you've all had an excellent Christmas, and I wish you a great New Year. If we don't speak before the next match, I can't remember when exactly it is, but our next match is against Wolves, so hopefully another 3 points. But before then, we've got all the rest of the matches tomorrow. Let's see how it pans out for us and where we actually end up. Right now we are in 5th position, but we've played a game extra. Chelsea on the same number of points as us, so is Liverpool. We're ahead of the likes of Sunderland, Palace. So let's see what they do and where we end up. But for today, that's all from me. Well done to Amarim. Well done to United. Happy. Thank you very much to you guys and the team. Glory, glory, Man United. And see you all later.